Hello, my name is Artsy Sister, and we're streaming Shining Nikki. Alright, we're doing the Dice and Rise of the Everlasting Flames. And I'm gonna be starting it from the shortest one to the longest one. 600 years ago, the Water Elves were defeated by the Light Elves and banished to the Evernight Sea. Since then, the new moon has been hanging over the stormy sea, and the mysterious blue moon appeared in the night sky of many places in Maryland. Meanwhile, Xavier from frequent nights of storms at sea. And behind the new moon, the storms are an organization of Cajon and the Mercury Group. To investigate the new moon, Nikki and Giselle go to the pigeon forest, and apart from Nikki and her first son, one else comes into the ancient forest. Giselle awaits at the restaurant with a companion from the Useless to meet the Queen. And beside Lake Bovary, Lowen fights with the Cajon and seizes the instruments for the main phases of the moon from the man in a black robe. And in the ground place of the royal Ninier city, the original crystal in the front of Modric is dim and loses its sense of the Queen. And when the light winds return to your birthplace and see the first fire whose sacred flame was extended from Pigeon's glory. And based on the clue of the glory, Ophelia enters the mist forest to find the altar, and holding to the awakened ancestor of fire and the Holy Grail. And Mercury follows Ophelia closely. And on that night, a rare thunderstorm hits in a misty forest, and Nick and Teresita and the other experience stormy night and thunder and lightning. As the new moon rises and mist hovers, and the secret of the elves' origin is waking up while with the dormant power. A month ago in the Evernight Sea. The black waves here never stop, and the blue moon always hangs in the starless sky like a giant eye of the abyss. And two confronting parties remain silent in the deep bottom of the sea, tall and graceful water elves with halberds stand around their leader. Shadow of human and elf, and why do you come here this time? The visitor at the king of the sea are calmly and ignores the hostility of the elves. I came to fulfill our agreement. With a century, lighthouse will be destroyed, and the power holding you in the deep sea will be gone, and I hope you return to the land. That was our agreement. The power of the original crystal is failing, and the elf queen injected her power into it, but that won't last long, and now is the best time to carry out the plan. The water elf leader frowned slightly. It's been hundreds of years since we came in contact with the lighthouse after the humiliation war, and we have been trapped in the sea. And we're the descendants of Aronius, and the most powerful and noble race has lived here due to the Light Elves. And we can't stay in the offshore for a long time or return to the rivers and lakes of Maryland. And we can't clarify fake crimes or rebuild ancestor altar. And undercurrents are surging, making a dumb roar that sounds like the sadness and resentment of the water elves over the past centuries. Elf gods harvest point at Mercury, and dark flames of hatred surge in their supposedly clear eyes. My innocent daughter Doria left Evernight Sea for days because she was curious about the dirty human life and never returned. It's all because of the light of vile usurpers. You turn countless relatives and friends of mine into baubles. And the water elf leader raises his hand and stops a guy who wants to tear the enemy into pieces. And as you can see, we try to regain the freedom and glory deprived by the light of day and night. But my people have been exiled for far too long, and without the power of our ancestor Aronius, we can't break the contract. I found the place where Aronius is sealed, and if you give me the scepter of Aronius, I'll summon the ancient king for you. The water leader doesn't respond, and he stares at Mercury as he's trying to look into the depths of his elusive soul. Are you suspecting me? We never suspected our ally, and only by letting the light of the new moon shine on Maryland can we bring back the power of Aronius. Don't worry, I found a way to bring the power of the new moon over the Evernight Sea to Maryland, and what I only need is a new moon scepter. And the elves don't believe Mercury's word, but only whisper due to their leader's majesty, and the leader ponders for a long time and raises his head. Although you're a mixed-race man, the contract between us will still be recognized by the Tree of Life. And if you break the contract, the power banishes us to the far sea with flood Pigeon Kingdom, sinking it into a dark vortex forever. I will abide by the contract. And I believe you will, and the sun abandoned by the light elf will bring back our great ancestors' long-lost glory. And the water elf little puts his hand on Mercury's shoulder, and the sapphire ring shines in the dark sea. The seal of the contract on Mercury's body also shines, and he feels an acute pain. Whenever the elves make a contract with each other, the mark will appear until the contract is completed. And the abomination from the elf leader doesn't change Mercury's tone at all. Admonition, I mean. You won't wait long. My ship will show you the way, and you only need to follow the guidance of the new moon and wait for your ancestor Aronius at the seaside. 3 days ago, the pigeon forest rested, and in a room in the second floor, the blonde elf queen sits in front of a table, flipping through an old book with her slender fingers. Your Majesty, you haven't eaten anything for a long time, and do you need some snacks? No, thank you, Mr. Allen. Tomorrow went to the forest to find the altar of the emissary of fire, and please take a rest. Ophelia doesn't take her eyes off the page, and I've been studying these ancient elf classes, but I still find it hard to believe that there's such a story about our origin. And light elves are still the most powerful elves in Mirrodin, and it was your ancestor Lugrin who created the glorious Pigeon Kingdom. Ophelia raises her head and looks at Alan gently. Mr. Allen, you taught me ancient Elvish language, and without you I wouldn't understand so much history, nor would I find a way to regain our glory. Pigeon nobles may hate that history. After all, it means the light elves are not descended from the Lord God of Glory, nor are they born from the Tree of Life. The noble light elves won't allow such a history to exist. The Queen of the Light Elves is not troubled by the fallacy of history. She shakes her hand. I believe the power of the light elves lies not in the titles of Lord God or emissary, but in the courage to step out of the forest to go to the continent. We're not the descendants of the Lord God who overrides other races, but the eternal sacred fire gives us the light to move forward. Yes, light elves are always free and brave. But since the day when we brought me to Mr. Mercury, I've been a weak queen in a cage. Ophelia talks about this past event, and her eyes remain gentle and sincere, staring straight at Alan. Alan, who is famous for his calmness, is a little nervous. For the first time, he feels this weak girl is unpredictable. To regain the glory of the pigeon, no matter how many obstacles lie ahead, I won't hesitate to advance until I achieve my goal. I don't mean to compete for benefits. I believe that the glory of the Pigeon Kingdom will shine again in Mirrodin. And Mr. Allen, are you looking forward to that day? Of course, I believe the prosperity of the elves will come with the dawn tomorrow. And good night, Your Majesty. I look forward to seeing the dawn tomorrow. And good night, Mr. Allen. The following day, the Pigeon Forest. And since ancient time, darkness has been in the mist forest, and in heavy mist only Ophelia's wings emit faint light. Your Majesty, according to the ancient records, the altar should be just up ahead. I see, I'll walk along the rest of the way. But Your Majesty, and blank mist gradually obscures Alan's sight, and even the light of the Queen gradually disappears in his sight. It said that only the elves can enter the mist forest, and our people got lost after entering the forest. And Mr. Allen, can you see nothing now, right? Please be careful, Your Majesty. And Ophelia nods, and she is in afraid of the thick darkness, but walks forward with a small light. And the altar emerges from the darkness, and it looks deserted for a long time, and the statue of the ancestor of fire is covered with cracks and moss. An ancestor of fire defeated ancestor of water with the Holy Grail in the Blazing Moon War, and the former has since been holding the Holy Grail that shines no more and sleeping in the forest. The elf queen kneels piously before the statue and chants a hymn. The eternal life of fire, please burn again at long night and burn out the chaos and darkness on the earth, and bring back the light for elves. And tiny sparks emerge from the hymn, spreading their wings and cutting searing wounds in the dark mist. And the sparks turn into butterflies, and they form a golden storm, and the ancient Holy Grail reveals itself. And the elf queen uses a dagger to cut open her white skin, and red blood drops into the Holy Grail, and knocking on the door of the long silent ancestor of fire. And the figures here on the Holy Grail for now, thousands of years shows a faint outline, but the pure light illuminates the entire forest. The elves are praying here in earnest, begging the eternal fire of life to be rekindled from the ashes And in the dark times, the fire started the civilization of Mirala, and their ancestor who fell in the blazing war is waking up. Ophelia is embraced by the fire, and the ancestor of fire warm hands are about to answer her prayer, and the first light covers Ophelia's wings. Inside the underground palace of Pigeon, and the mirror-like surface of the original crystal shines softly, and Mary, the queen of the Elf Queen, keeps staring at it with a worried look. And a silver-haired man, court musician, fiddles with a delicate harp, and unconsciously looks at the original crystal from time to time. I don't understand why the queen did such a dangerous thing, and the original crystal is failing, but maybe there are other less risky ways. Queen Ophelia knows that the original crystal is in severe danger, and if its light goes out completely, it will disappear from the Pigeon Kingdom. And the ancient Elvis classes found by the Queen do record unknown history, and after the Blazing Moon Wars, the ancestor of fire fell with Aronius. And the fires disappeared, and the lighters were born from the ashes. Awakening the ancestor of fire can ignite the initial light of the original crystal. But the Queen's teacher Anna, we suspect that he worked for Mercury. The Queen and I consider that, and the ancient novice classes collecting the forbidden area can be fake, and we need to bear some risk. And the Queen has trusted followers in her close guard, and if Alan really wants to snatch away the Holy Grail, it won't be that easy. The Siran family will wait for the Queen at the rest stop, and there are few people the Queen can trust in the royal city. But what if other accidents happen? Mother remains silent for a long time and sighs slightly. It's a price that must be paid, and if the light of the original crystal is allowed to fade, what awaits us is doomsday of the Pigeon Kingdom. And Mary looks back at the original crystal, and its light now comes from the Queen Ophelia, and if something bad happens to her, the light will disappear. And the light on the crystal is weak, but it never disappears, and perhaps the Queen's journey will bring good results. And at the same time, in the mist forest, bright fire embraces Ophelia, and the warm hands of the ancestor of fire are about to answer her prayers, and the first light covers Ophelia's wings. And just as the ancestor of fire is about to fully reveal the figure, the eyes of the new moon find the altar in the mist. And a blue like a thunderstorm shakes the earth, and the outline of the ancestor of fire disappears, and pitch darkness comes again. And it's not mist, but a cold sea water, and it comes from the Holy Grail and douses the flame, and only a dark voltage is left in the Grail. Thus, and a huge darkness outline emerges from the Holy Grail, but it's not the ancestor of fire. His hair is woven by moonlight in the deep sea, and his eyes filled with thousands of years of dark chaos. Ophelia doesn't know this terrible god, and he has strong power, and with a wave of his hand, an overwhelming black tide hits Ophelia. And the vortex carries Ophelia down into the center of the darkness, and before being swallowed up, Ophelia sees a strange but familiar figure. And he seems to be a phantom of a silver-haired boy, and he has pointed ears of the elves, but no wings. Run, Ophelia! And the boy runs to free the void and the waves at Ophelia, and she reaches out her hand, only catches a remnant of a memory. And Mercury watches the Elfkin disappear, and black tide flows back into the Holy Grail, which has fulfilled its mission and returned to silence. And he seems to be pondering something, but loud roars interrupt his thinking, and the ancestor of water, Aronius, untied the bondage and went to the sea. And in the palace, the light of the original crystal goes out instantly, and the crystal that no longer shines seems to have lost its eternal life. And Mary lets out a cry of surprise, and Mother looks at the crystal as if he has devised a plan, and he puts on the harp and strides to the gate. And Mother finds some heavily armed elven knights are waiting outside the gate, and Mother steps out on a horse, and Mary gives him a cloak and sword. The shortest way to there is to the Lake Bovary, and please be sure to bring back the Queen. And Mother's face shows a long, lost, serious look, and he nods solemnly, and he turns around, and his horse goes into the pigeon forest. A week ago, Xavier headquarters, and recently the surveying facilities in Pigeon Forest have been destroyed, and that has been explained in the last report. And we also monitor anomaly power fluctuations in the distant sea of Mirror known as the Ebonite Sea. And our investigators can get close to the Ebonite Sea, and it's controlled by the Water Elves, and only the ships of Mercury Group can enter it. And previous survey results shown there is a certain connection between the Ebonite Sea and the Abyss. And the man who is thinking about something behind the table looks up, and the world calls back some of his memories. The Abyss is also the power behind the incident in the near Royal City. Yes, we suppose Mercury is taking actions related to the Abyss in the Ebonite Sea, but it's difficult for us to investigate the group and continue monitoring and tell people to keep a low profile. Yes, it should be noted that a person currently in the cloud is preparing to go to the Pigeon Forest. And who is it? Leon is heir. And Robert doesn't speak, and a slight cough comes from the city in the shadow, and a young man with blonde hair walks up to the table and looks at him. After the near incident, we should understand that Leonie's heir and Savior are on the same side. We do have the same goal, but there are too many variables on her, and such is the mysterious figure who appeared beside her after the near incident. And Lauren, do you know why your friends went to the Pigeon Forest this time? I don't know, but I have a hunch that their actions will coincide with ours again. And looking at the man's particular serious eye, Rowan nods non-committedly. And you'll direct the operation in the Pigeon Forest, and it's gonna be complicated than we thought because it involves the ocean of memories and the abyss. And we don't know the purpose of Mercury Cruise, and please be careful and I'll wait for your good news. Yes. After the storm in the Pigeon Forest, and water droplets who wet the hair of Giselle, who is walking in the leaves and puddles in the forest, excited cooing. And a chubby Shumi throws out her skirt and coos, and Giselle squats down patiently and strokes the Shumi's head. Is everything here okay after the storm? And the Shumis gesticulate and happy with hands and feet and making shorter cooing sounds. The house was flooded, but thanks to the rain, you grew a little taller, so you're very happy. And that makes the power of the water element is getting stronger in the entire Pigeon Forest. And the Shumi throws out her skirt and tries to go in the other direction. I see you found a golden butterfly turned into a strange flame. Okay, please lead the way. And Shumis lead Giselle to a grassland beside the mushroom house, and where there are mosses and flowers, and a small branch was made into a candlestick. And there are golden flame burning in the candlestick, and it's brighter than ordinary flame, and a golden butterfly is dancing around the flame. And the butterfly with its tail carrying sparks rests on Giselle's fingertip, and it dances around Giselle, its tail making a pattern of flame. And Shumi watches the butterfly dance and claps approvingly, and Giselle stares at the mark of flame and nods. I see, you came to prevent this disaster, but you failed to show yourself with the residual strength. And Giselle gently touches the wing of the butterfly that are bright as fire, and to her surprise they are not hot. But I'm not the one you're waiting for. Don't worry, someone in the star track will wake you up. The path.
Let the darkness devour Arionis, unless it takes us both.
Deep in the Pigeon Forest, the dark mist envelops everything. The last incident drives Aronius to chase the golden red light and waves clean to the helm of the cloak, and where Aronius was, the water drowns all living beings. The pain from the soul seems to be split the will of the god of water, and only one can end the pain, and that was the only destination for the lost soul. Aronius. And a warm flame flickers in Aronius' memory, and the familiar cloud clears the chaotic consciousness, and Aronius looks up. And 8 sullen elves holding the holy instrument stand in line, while the former best friend stands in front of them. The always gentle god of fire holds the blazing holy grail, and the wings of 1,000 fire butterflies are making a golden storm. The forest is quiet, and the hidden intention to kill shakes Aronius' remaining sanity, and Aronius looks at Hephaeus and sees firmness. Hephaeus, you betrayed us. And numerous fire butterflies float out of the Holy Grail, and they dodge the mist and the tide and fly to Aronius as he's trying to tell Aronius something. And Hephaeus does not give up on saving his best friend, and still believes that the abyss takes Aronius' soul, leaving Aronius in darkness and endless pain. And the fire and the Holy Grail will show the way back, and if the purification of the fire helps Aronius get rid of the abyss, the god of water will return. But in Aronius' eye, every pair of fluttering wings is like a drop of hot rain burning the promise of the past. And waves around Aronius surge, and the remaining glimmer in the eyes disappear, and a lightning strikes, turning the fire butterflies into blackened dust. And rage consumes Aronius' mind, and Aronius wields the new moon scepter, and a great power pulls the sky overhead. The thick clouds surge over the forest, deafening the sound that grows with a bang, and a storm is coming. And hurricane and lightning and destroy everything around Aronius, and a dark mist surges in all directions like a flood, mercilessly killing all life. This is what you call purification. As I have said, Aronius has sacrificed soul to the abyss and has joined the ranks of the devil. And Hephaestus, you have witnessed the fall of Aronius, and don't defend the sinner anymore. And the elves raise their holy instruments with a deafening cry, and powerful forces pour out of their weapons to resist the storm centered on Aronius. I won't give up. And Hephaestus raises his hands, and the butterflies turn into sharp blades capable of destroying everything. And the blazing holy gear nearly burns itself into pieces. And the new moon in the sky turns red, and it looks like a bloody wound deeply etched into the hard eyes of Hephaestus. And the Holy Grail shall always illuminate your way back home, and that's what we agreed on. And Aronius, my friend, please believe me. And the almost exhausted god of fire holds high the Holy Grail and walks to Aronius through the flames and the dark mist, but only sees eyes full of hatred. And the eyes that were clear are completely covered with darkness, and Aronius raises his hands trying to strike a deadly blow at Hephaestus. And the tide against the fire recedes, and the fire burns Aronius' hands, devouring Aronius' body, and the new moon scepter loses its light, and Aronius looks reluctant. And Hephaestus' worn eyes meet Aronius' cloudy and cold eyes. Aronius, let's go home. And Hephaestus takes the last step forward and hugs Aronius, and numerous flames burst out from the god of fire's fingertips, and the Holy Grail drops from above. As the tear slips from Hephaestus' eyes, and the fire in the Holy Grail grows brighter as it has burned up Hephaestus, and the life engulfs Aronius and Hephaestus. And the two souls are closely intertwined for the last time, and there are no words, but only destruction and a silent farewell. And countless fire butterflies emerge from the ground of the Holy Grail, and after being purified by the flame, they look bright and sad and fly in the air. And the extinction of the flame is the beginning of a new life, and the last soul of the god of fire is used to seal the Holy Grail forever. And a well resounded throughout the world, and fire elves in the forest felt Hephaestus' will and repel the evil shadows with the power of light and flame. After the battle, the mist trusts the altar, but it also protects the altar to this day. And the god of fire Hephaestus and all of the fires disappear in the depths of the forest. Hephaestus' body turns into countless tiny butterflies, which scatter all over the forest and become silent dust in history. A long time has passed and things have changed dramatically, and under the light of the original crystal, descendants of the fire elves are born from the ashes of the fire elves on the shores of Lake Bovali in Pigeon Forest. They are light elves. Dark tides are trying to drag Aronius into the abyss, but I trust my friend. I know Aronius won't succumb to the darkness. When the last ray of the sunshine falls on top of the tree of life in the forest, the ground suddenly vibrates, and outside the entrance of the sources of the spring, the fire barrier set up by Hephaestus become after images of golden butterflies that dissipate in the air. And the extreme weak Aronius walks out of the source of spring, and the previous indifferent eyes glisten. Hephaestus, I made it. And at the cost of the seed in the source of spring, Aronius casts the link between the abyss and the root of the tree of life, and Hephaestus is supposed to be waiting here. Hephaestus? And Aronius looks for Hephaestus but finds no one under the tree, and soon other elves who heard the sound all surround Aronius. And this is not a friend waiting, but a cold trial, and a vigilant elf point their weapons at Aronius. Aronius, why do you enter the source of the spring? You even tried to pollute the tree of life, and that's an unforgivable crime. And Aronius once again realizes that these elves deep-rooted suspicion and prejudice. And all the elves attack at the same time before Aronius speaks, and a dark light flashes and Aronius stops for a moment. And Vincent runs by Aronius, and even the god of the water, the most powerful among the elves, is instantly knocked down to the ground after giving the seed. And with a glittering wand, Aronius falls, and the elf's face gets increasingly strange and cold. And Aronius gets angry and disappointed, and no one sees a shadow creeping in, and Aronius' eyes that had just been lit up with joy turn dark. And after the moment, Aronius feels like the wicked body is falling towards the uncontrollable edge. Phew. And when Aronius looks up again, there are only dark shadows. And the tip of the new moon sector emits a dazzling light, and water form waves surging around angrily with the dark mist. Stop, Aronius. And no life in the path of the dark mist waves is killed in an instant, and the great shadow of the tree of life grows grim in Aronius' eyes as the elves launch attacks. Hypocritical elves, I am not one of you. And the scene in front of Aronius becomes blurred, and the sound of the fades away, and dark eyes are so gentle, calling Aronius to go home. Aronius. And a fire breaks through the dark mist that is drifting away with wind and bright fire, and butterflies light up in the twilight. And the fails who escape from the siege of the wind elves hurry to rise, but there is no signs of Aronius in the center of the dark mist. And what have you done, Aronius? I saw that Aronius devoted soul to the devil in the abyss and into those fields into the source of spring. You are the one who opened the door. And Hephaestus, you allow Aronius to enter the source spring without permission, and you're a traitor. And Aronius showed true color after being controlled by the shadow of the abyss. But you, Hephaestus, you are the god of fire, and yet you turn your back on the light. That's not the case. And looking at the mistrustful eyes of his companion, Hephaestus refuses to step back. Hephaestus, the god of fire, neglected duties, and from today the god of fire is not allowed to enter the source spring. And since the day Aronius left the forest, many elves have been blaming Hephaestus, and fire elves lost their companions' trust. And the wind brought news from afar, and the rumored god of water has been controlled by the abyss, and was running amok at sea, leaving the dead a trail of dead. We must stop that demon right now and gather all of your forces to kill the son of the abyss. And looking at the stern eyes of the elf, Hephaestus once again offers defense. Dark eyes are trying to drag Aronius into the abyss, but I trust my friend. I know he wants to come to the darkness. And a disdainful wind rose up the air and brushes the flames above Hephaestus' head. Self-righteous friendship, blind trust, and young elves, these can be the reasons to condone crimes. And those who have been corrupted by the abyss have lost their consciousness. And Hephaestus, you really have a way to bring back Aronius. I had no idea, but I must try. And I can't let Aronius suffer this pain alone. Only I can pull Aronius out of the abyss now. Standing on the shore Lake Bovary, Hephaestus touches a stone tablet engraved with the verse in praise of the god of water. And Hephaestus always trusts and never gives up on an old friend, and the god of water who brought rain and water to the forest. And after a long time, Hephaestus suppresses anxiety and uneasiness and lights the Holy Grail in hands. Fire butterflies, please show my friend the way home. And countless golden butterflies fly out of the Holy Grail and flock towards the sea. And soon the familiar red aura reappears in the forest. The power of the abyss is not a gift from fate, but a curse that has been imprinted in my blood.
It's a curse that has flowed in my veins since my birth.
The new moon hangs in the sky, and cold moonlight shines on the coastline, and waves keep crashing against the rocks. This is where the vast forest meets the ocean, and from here Aronius sets foot on the continent for the first time. And unlike other elves born in the forest, Aronius comes from the sea, and there has been a sea of chaos in Aronius' memory. And in the quiet darkness there's a dangerous undercurrent, and painful and desperate gibbering sounds in Aronius' ears. On the night when Aronis decides to set foot on land, the moonlight is bright and the forest is quiet, and a blue flower in the cold sways in the wind. And Aronis reaches out hands, and evening breeze with the smell of the earth gently passes through the fingertips. And Aronis gets fond of this new world full of vitality and summons water to adorn the forest, clear streams, sweet springs, and high waterfalls. And Aronis watches the river flowing through the forest, and the rain nourishes creatures, and the dew kissing the flower waiting to bloom. And later Aronis gets to know Hephaestus, the god of fire, and the soul and eyes of Hephaestus are like bright and warm flames. And the power of Hephaestus enables Aronis to control the power of the abyss, despite the very painful process. And Aronis, though the caught in darkness at the abyss, but the abyss keeps watching Aronis, ready to swallow him up at any moment. It is the night of the new moon again, and the forest seems to fall into a deep sleep, and only the sound of the wind blowing over the treetops is audible. And Aronis comes to the seaside alone and steps on the waves, which gently lift Aronis up. And the new moon center glows blue in the dark night, and casting a halo in the pitch black sea, and fish arriving for a silvery ebb. And surging water splashes onto Aronis' clothes, and is cold as ever. And suddenly Aronius stops, sensing the danger, and the fish disperse in a hurry, and from the deep sea a dark black tide surges madly towards Aronius. Ah! And the familiar cube paint strike, and Aronius' box of spirit submerges the body into the sea and sinks down. It's the deep sea bottom, and no moonlight shines in it, and the pain comes through Aronius' soul, and the darkness keeps pulling Aronius down. And Aronis closes his eye, and the obvious pain on and the usual expressionless face, and the leap power of Aronis stirs up the surrounding sea, but is restrained by a certain force, unable to form a storm that can reach the surface. And the sea surface remains calm, and in the deep sea Aronis holds the new moon scepter, and the will to guard and destroy fight against each other, and the conflict raises a sandstorm. And after Aronia comes down, the tip of the scepter emits a dazzling blue and white light, and a column of light instantly pierces the chaotic deep sea. The light is as bright as the moonlight on the sea surface, and it soothes the surging undercurrent and suppresses the raging destructive power in Aronius. And Aronius opens eyes wearily where there is a shadow of danger and tenderness. And the sea becomes calm, and Aronius returns to the sea tide surface, whose body is gently brushed by the tides. The blue light from the new moon scepter is like that from a lighthouse in the sea, and fish surround Aronius as he's thanking Aronius for guarding the world. And the presence in it is just like the one that happened on those countless silent and painful nights.
I do envy Hephaestus sometimes, for an eternal flame burns in their chest. They will continue to shine, no matter how dark the night.
Deep in the mine where the dwarfs live, Hephaestus waits expectantly by the furnace, and the fire in the furnace reddens the face of Hephaestus. And Aronius stands behind Hephaestus with folded arms, and the face is indifferent as ever. And what are you waiting to see? It's a holy instrument, and don't you expect what your holy instrument will look like after it's finished? With the holy instrument will become emissaries to protect the holy tree and enter the source of spring. And although Aronius doesn't seem very interested, Aronius continues to talk to Hephaestus. Have you figured out what kind of weapon you want to make? And Hephaestus thinks for a moment and looks up at Aronius with a hint of determination. I don't want any weapons, you know I hate war. I want a holy instrument as bright as the morning light in spring and as warm as the sun in winter. And Aronius is firm and gentle in Hephaestus' eyes. I don't know what it is, but it suits you very well. And leave the war to me. And what about you? What holy instrument do you want? Any scepter would be good, and it'll be better if the scepter can control the power in my body. And hearing those words, Hephaestus walks over to Aronius and looks at Aronius seriously. I hope you do. and they simultaneously look at the dwarf craftsman with beard and the edges of which have been scorched by fire. Your holy instruments will be ready in a few days, and the most critical step is your endowing them with power. Since they'll be ready in a few days later, we'll go back now. But I like to wait here. And Hefeo looks at Aronius and blinks innocently. Haha, you're really good pals, and it's been a long time since I last saw such friendship like yours. Aronius doesn't deny it, but smiles, and Hefeo's ears become red, and flames begin to burst, and a whiff of smoke comes out from the top of Hefeo's head. And Hefeo looks at Aronius and turns around again, and the fire butterflies suddenly turn into fireworks exploding in the cave. Wow, is that the power of flame? And it's so beautiful. And seeing that Aronius and the dwarf are distracted by the firework, Hefeo secretly breathes a sigh of relief. The holy instruments are finished a few days later, and the dwarf craftsman excitedly introduces his masterpieces to them. And Hefeo's holy instrument is a golden holy grail. When touched by hand, fire butterflies fly out and dance around the grail. I won't use the holy grail for war, I use it to illuminate the way forward for others. And with eyes closed, Hefeo sets up the barrier and injects blazing fire into the holy grail until it gives a warm light. And Hefeo, who passes the trial, opens the barrier and looks at Aronius with joy, and the glow in the eyes is warm as that of the holy grail. Aronius, I'll become stronger with the holy grail, and I can better help you fight against the dark abyss. Aronius' face also becomes gentle, and Aronius begins to inject power into the new moon center. The water and the power of silence quiet everything, and suddenly the water is mixed with a blank shadow, and Aronius is in the barrier, groans in pain. Aronius, are you alright? And the light on the new moon center flickers, and a great power of the abyss penetrates the barrier with the dark mist, and the fire in the cave dies instantly. Hefeo immediately summons the fire butterflies, and bright fire dispels the ubiquitous dark mist and lights out the figure of Aronius in the barrier. And as the thunder and storm play as an elevatory tune for the god of water, Hefeo realizes that Aronius has passed the trial. And after thanking the dwarf, Hefeo and Aronius return to the tree of life. And Aronius waves the new moon center, and a mist comes out, and the mist and the fire rise from the holy grail, creating rainbows in the sky. And Aronius looks at Hefeo with a rare relaxation in the eyes, and then Aronius speaks in a sincere tone. The shadow from the abyss still lurks in my body, but as long as its fire is around me, I will be at ease and fearless. Hefeo, thank you very much. Even if I have the most powerful weapon in the world, I will never hurt you. And I will never hurt you, Aronius, and we'll always be best friends. And the sunshine and the drizzle are reflected in the eyes of the two elves, and at the moment time seems to stand still.
I do envy Hefas sometimes.
Near noon, every roof in the pigeon capital is crowded with people, but the city is silent, and only the sound of the flags running in the wind is audible. And the people look at the lake Holy Light, where the pigeon soldiers point their weapons at the characters in the lake, the defeated water elves. And the trial of the defeated, presided over by the queen, will begin at noon. And no one knows what ruling the queen will make today, and no one knows whether the proud and warlike water elves would accept defeat willingly. When the sun rises at the center of the sky, the heavy door of the church opens, and Queen Ophelia, wearing a royal crown and golden crown, comes out. And the elf queen is unfolded wings shine with a light purer than the morning sunshine. We are defeated, but shall not be humiliated. Water elves will summon the tide to annihilate this sinful kingdom one last time at the cost of our souls. And water elves let out angry and desperate cries, and the noise of the loading guns sounds on both the banks of the Holy Light River. So just drop your weapons. And the queen's orders comes out loud and clear to everyone. Drop your weapons. And the order is calm but irresistible, so the soldiers put down their weapons and step back. And hundreds of years ago, it was also here that the queen Brunhilde of Pigeon signed a pact with the water elves to banish them to the Ebonite Sea. And Ophelia looked straight into the eyes of the water elf leader, whose face shows undisguised hatred. Water elves will never be humiliated again. and Water Elves are ready to die. Not far away, the glory priest frowned while Ophelia's expression remains unchanged. For hundreds of years, under the pact of the Queen Brunhild, you and the Light Elves and Water Elves have enjoyed peace. And I believe this pact is the promise made by two races. And Light Elves abide by the pact and will never set foot on the open seas and never make trouble for you, attack or sanction you. But you defied the pact and attacked us, and you hurt our people and suffered losses, and as the Queen of the Pigeon Kingdom, I am deeply sorry for that. And for a moment the Water Elf leader appears confused, and he looks east, and that's the direction of the sea from which he and his people came ashore. And Ophelia looks at the Water Elf leader, and the leader seems to feel her gaze and turns around, and his blue eyes are covered with cold gray. The leader remembers this elf girl and looked at him sadly, and with her eyes before she became queen, as if to atone for the Light Elves. And Ophelia pauses for a moment and then lowers her voice. I can't deny the pact concluded by Queen Brunhild as restricting the freedom of the Water Elves. But today I'd like to make a promise in the name of the current Queen of Pigeon Kingdom. I'll try my best to find a way to cancel the pact. And hearing those words, people lay their heads together and start to whisper. And the Water Elf leader is startled with a complex look on his face. Water Elves is one of the oldest races of Maryland and has made great contributions to protecting this continent. There have been misunderstandings and resentment between us for 1,000 years, but I hope and believe this lost friendship will be recovered. Let's forget about our feud. And the people hold their breath waiting for the Water Elf's response, and the leader look doesn't change, and he stares at the girl for a long time. And after a long time, the Water Elf leader's body begins to melt, and his staff and body crown become water flowing into the Lake Holy Light. And other Water Elves turn into water and lead to the Holy Light River, and the waves surge to the sea and soon disappear. Your Majesty, did the Water Elves really leave? And Ophelia's gazed at the river where the Water Elves just stood amid the deafening joy and blessing of the people. I don't think he fully believes me, but we have won, and in the world of the elves, the words of the winner are powerful. And Ophelia gives Mary a gentle smile. Now that the people of Pigeon Kingdom can enjoy peace. And Ophelia turns around and steps onto the platform, and she pulls the flame from the Holy Grail into the original crystal. And the original crystal becomes very bright, and countless light pours right from the Holy Light River. God bless the Queen, and God bless Pigeon Kingdom. And the ancient kingdom finally regains its glory again, and the young elf queen will move forward with love and hope. Beep, beep, beep. In a secret experimental base located at the bottom of the Pigeon Kingdom, instruments emit eerie blue light in a dark room. Mercury stands with his head down in the darkness, gazing at the object in the table. A new moon scepter of Aronius that was made by Viper's team, and Viper failed to get enough holy crystals due to the obstruction of the dwarves, and this replica is incomplete. And the gem floating in the center of the scepter shines brilliantly, and its power comes from the non-existent god of water. And the light awakened by the soul of the Water Elves in Lake Bobali will help the replica play the same function, thus connecting the power outside Mirrorland. The power of the abyss. And from the past to the present, Mercury has been spying on the land of chaos and darkness. Awakening Water Elves is just his experiment. And Mercury touches the gem with his fingertip, and Water Elves return to the sea, and the emblem on the back of his hand, a symbol of the contract, disappears. And the ancient power of the elves swirls around him, and just like what happened not so long ago. And as the rain pours down from the pigeon forest, he reaches to the tree of life and the legendary source of all living beings. And at the time, many voices ring in his ear and gently calling him to go back. And he has no access to the deeper source of spring, but absolute power works everywhere, and the tree of life shows him what he wants to discover. And it's the past that belongs to Mirrorland and the future that may eventually come. And many stars track crisscross in the endless dark sky, and stars shine brightly. And the god who hides his body lands in the center of the forest, and the original prophet listens to the oracle's pious in the wooden hut. And a white-haired man drinks in the sea of stars, and his pen holding hands passing through the stars. And in the dry desert, exhausted travelers are struggling but continue to head east. and black waves rise in the ocean of memories, and light keeps appearing in the sky, and the gods fight against each other, and a lonely and shining star falls in the gap of time and space, and numerous fragments soak his consciousness and erode the fuzzy truths around the world, and leave more unanswerable doubts. But Mercury knows that the door he looked for has been opened, and he is getting closer and closer to the truth about the world. After learning the news of Ophelia's disappearance, Nikki and her friends decide to go into the Mist Forest. And in front of the rest, the horses are ready, and Murder rises on a horse and looks into the forest, pointing to the center of the map. And Murder hears the sound of the flapping wings, and he looks up and finds a pigeon is flying towards him. And it's a special royalty pigeon that can be deliver important messages in all weather to help the people avoid getting lost in the forest. And after opening the seal, Murder scans the contents of the letter, and his expression becoming solemn. And Water Elves and their leader are attacking the pigeon capital, claiming to regain their former territory and glory. And what? And all of the people present are surprised by the words, and Ophelia is still missing, and Water Elves are that made the unclear situation worse. Nikki, I won't go to the Mist Forest for you, and I must return to the city now. And please find Queen Ophelia, and once I have tackled the matter in the city, I will come to meet you. Okay, leave that to us. And Murder rides away, and his back soon disappears into the shadows of the forest. The forest is dark and silent before dawn, and the blue moon shines a gloomy light on the pigeon forest. And Giselle goes upstream to the waterfall beside the sea of flowers to visit the tree of life. The oak tree stands quiet in the night, and a huge canopy sheltering the land between the elves were born. Long time no see, and Giselle stretches out her hand to stroke the rough bark, and she sounds concerned about the tree. You look weaker than before. Is it because of the abyss? Well, the abyss tends to weaken everyone. Green leaves rustle in the wind just like whispering in her ear. And the roots of the tree of life not only connect the stars but also reach the abyss, and it selflessly nourishes every nature. I know you're the source of light and the home of the abyss, and purity and filth coexist, and this is the eternal law of nature. So you treat light and darkness equally and accept the origin of all else. Unfortunately, time for reunions is coming. And seeming in response to her words, the fragrance of the flower gets stronger, and the flowers among the leaves emit a luminous shimmer in the night. And the night gets darker, and Giselle waits patiently for the dawn under the shade of the tree of life. Realizing Lauren's intentions, the wind elves can no longer sense the whereabouts of Nikki and her friends. And anger turns into hostility, and wind blades are woven into imperceptible net to attack Lauren. But the invisible wind blades can't even touch Lauren's garment, and Lauren easily dodges of attack. And the air is full of restlessness as the wind elves are panting anxiously. You can't attack me by doing that. If you don't understand, look around. And they come to the sea of dandelions, and the fierce battle awakens the sleeping little white umbrellas. And dandelions softly tremble, and white fluffy balls fly into the sky. And among the fluffy balls, the traces of the wind are like the flowing brushstrokes in the canvas, and the traces can be clearly seen. The wind is shapeless, but it is visible. And an air current form transparent and swift figures of water elves, which gradually emerge in the air. Outsiders, get out and don't trample on this forest. It's the god of water who wants to destroy this forest, but you aim your weapons at us, the insignificant outsiders. Is it because wind elves have no guts to fight the god of water Aronius? And wind elves are enraged, and the air currents are about to cause a terrifying storm, and you'll pay your price for your words and your deeds. And Lauren doesn't intend to fight, and realizing the goal of delaying time is achieved, he deliberately angers the wind elves to create a chance to escape. I'm kidding, and don't get mad. Bye! And while the wind elves are accumulating power, Lauren crosses the sea of flowers and disappears in the blink of an eye. Deep in the forest, Giselle tries to enter the altar shrouded by the mist, and heavy mist swamps out everything, and even under the light of the burning torch, one can see a corner of the dark forest, and all means to determine the direction are useless, and no matter which direction they only encounter thick mist. And they walk around and return to the edge of the mist forest. Damn it, and we have to wait for the queen here. And some people are approaching. And Cornelius pulls out the torch, and the mercenaries carefully find shelter to hide. And some black-robed riders linger on the edge of the mist, followed by the several horses carrying special instruments. Are they also waiting for the queen, and we must strike first? Okay, the commander is interested in the instruments. And this place is suitable for an ambush, and the timing is perfect, and they can escape this time. Things are blackened by blurred shadows in the mist, and when a black-robed man realize the attack, they've fallen into a disadvantage. And the battle-hardened mercenaries from the justiciars appear quietly and raid their prey. And the black-robed men soon give up and begin to retreat, and Giselle leads his partners to pursue them. And they run out of the mist forest, and they see a plain where the numerous flowers are full of bloom. And without any hesitation, the two teens rush into the sea of flowers. The blue moon, new moon sheds eternal light over the sea of the forest, and he is wedged out of the silver coastline. The god of water, the awakened water elves, breaks through the shackles of the mist forest, and the air from the sea turns into a roaring storm. Aronius opens eyes, and a big storm rages in the air. And Aronius uses shadow hands over the figure on the reef, and the figure doesn't show any fear of the storm, but enjoys watching the violence. Son of humans and elves, and why do you awaken me? And don't you know that the god of water has fallen, and stupid prayers will incur the abyss's curse? And Mercury looks into Aronius' eyes, where lies the familiar abyss that will give him great power. I never pray because I get whatever I want. And I came here to fulfill my contract with your people. Now please listen to their anger. And thousands of water elves emerge from the tide, and their joyful singing and angry shouting are more turbulent than the storm. Our great water ancestor, we've been living in shame to see your glory once again. Your arch nemesis, the fires have fallen, and the dissented lighthouse banished us to the Ebonite Sea and deprives us of freedom. Please lead us to recapture our land and restore the glory of Aronius. We capture our land and we take our freedom and restore our glory. Darkness covers the body of Aronius who looks down at the elves, and there's no pity or only hatred in the eyes of Aronius. Everything in the past has been burned by the flames, and from now on the tide will flood the world. And rivers, lakes, and seas obey Aronius' order, and the god of water turns into the black storm rolling up the waves of the pigeon capital. And behind the god of water, sea wind roars, and blowing Mercury silver hair and covering his eyes. And a god won't answer meaningless players, and will the glory of his holy city create the lighthouse with blood, and tears light be destroying the tide. Ophelia, the queen of the pigeon kingdom, goes to the depths of the mystery kingdom, the eternal fire, to continue the glory. However, the storm and the darkness extinguish everything, and with the thousands of roar in the mist forest, the pigeon capital faces unprecedented disaster. And with thousands of years of anger and resentment, the water elves attack the pigeon capital. And in the ancient mysterious pigeon forest, Nikki and her friends alone search for Ophelia. And a fire butterfly quietly cuts through the ominous mist. The pigeon forest is filled with dense fog after the storm, and it's hard to walk on the slippery soil, and from time to time water drops fall down. And a huge raindrop accurately hits Momo's forehead, and Momo yells and falls to the ground. Momo, you can get in my backpack. No sense, and we'll soon arrive at the mushroom house and a Momo of the Momo clan, and it'll be embarrassing for me to get in your backpack. The Shumis in the rest have said that their smartest companions live in the mushroom house and know everything in the forest. And I think they know something about Ophelia. The small mushroom house lies up ahead, and the Shumens displaced by the storm all come back, and they're busy rebuilding their home, and perhaps because of the rain they look chubbier. And Nikki arrives, and the Shumis are painting the roof, and seeing the familiar figures, the Shumis immediately surround them. Interpret your friends and welcome here, and please sit and we'll get you delicious food. And before Nikki says anything, the enthusiastic Shumis are already bringing transparent puddings and mushroom soup and lemon berry jam. And Ashumi jumps onto Lowen's spawn and gives him a basket full of green beans, and says it's delicious. And before Lowen finishes speaking, countless plates are piled up in front of him, and the Shumis rush to invite Lowen to taste food. I have rescued the Shumis, and why did you only entertain him? Ashumi grabs Nikki's shirt and points at the yard outside. And do you want to take us somewhere? He invited us to see the mysterious flame and said that the flame turned into a butterfly. The Shumis leads Nikki to the yard, and the candlesticks made of branches dance among the stones, and a flame is burning in its light, quiet lamp. And golden butterflies dance around it, and they stop on the hair and fingertips of the crowd as if whispering something. And the small flame is hot and it emits bright light just like the sunshine on the first color of the spring. Teresita is something. The flame seems to need our help. Cue the cutscene. The flame grows and more golden butterflies surround the flame and gradually creating a figure. A pair of pointed ears and claws made of flames appear, and it appears to be swaying figure will dissipate in a second. And the beautiful dazzling flame makes people want to retain it. And Nikki reaches out hand and finds the flame is hot. And it seems there's a distant singing in the air, and the track of the flying butterflies compose a hymn. The light from the fire illuminates the earth, and the fire never goes out, and the soul never dies. And the dark tide surges and the light gathers, and keep the promise and fall into silence. Nikki looks up and sees a pair of butterflies, bright and happy eyes, and when the everlasting flame is burning. And you're... A strange figure emerges from the embrace of the butterfly, like a first ray of dawn striking into the forest. I have failed. Thank you for waking me up. It's overcast in the Pigeon capital, and violent thunders seem to destroy the Church of the Glory at any moment. And dark tides cover all of the colors and light. And on the boundless tides and clouds stand Aronius, who is regarded as the god of water for a long time. Aronius looks down at the flooded Pigeon capital, and there's only darkness in the once blue eyes. And Water Elves are finally free, and surging tide gives vent to their resentment suppressed for hundreds of years. And the water overflows the steps of the palace, and the unprepared nobles scramble at the tower. And Water Elves block the way of the Light Elves, and they laugh at elegance and piety, hypocrisy, and weakness of the Pigeon Kingdom. And the rivers and bridges become avenues for the Water Elves to go to the Pigeon Palace, and they wait for one is ordered to attack. Suddenly the hand waving the scepter stops, and a flame flashes before Aronius' eyes, and the fleeting flame invokes the phoenix in the depths. And Aronius looks at the large forest in the distance and finds an abominable sunshine illuminating the forest. You finally woke up, my former friend and my eternal enemy. And Aronius ignores the Pigeon capital and the revenge against the Light Elves. And Aronius remembers the forest that accepted and expelled him, and the best friend who believed and betrayed him are his real purpose to return to the world. The figure who emerges from the flame has pointed ears and very thin wings, and a small flame seems to be burning at the ends of the hair. And the flame becomes a beautiful light which changes into a sparkle dropping into the figure, and Momo recovers from the surprise after seeing the transformation. The fire butterfly has transformed into a human, Lowen. He fails. Are you an elf? Fire elf? Yes. And his face blinks with a small flame on the body. I know you are Nikki and you are Teresita and the blonde man who has just arrived is Sloan. And you have failed the emissary of fire recorded in Symphonica. What is that? I was one of the first files, and there were people who took us as gods, but this is the first time I heard someone calling me an emissary. Why do you look so weak? Before Hefel has time to answer, a group of mushrooms flood in, and they keep uttering cool and seeming very excited to see Hefel. Okay, little mushrooms, I like you too. And so many questions. Where should I begin? Hey, obviously I am the one who woke up. And Hefel frowns a bit and speaks slightly and louder as if having a good time. And what a lovely scene, and maybe I should prepare some gifts. They are gonna come. As Hefel claps hands, a golden butterflies flutter around and lighting up the crude hut, and cold floors are reheated to give off some alluring aroma. And at the corner of the long golden mushroom spot, Hefel smiles, seeing the mushrooms running away excitedly, and then turns to Nikki. Wake up, my friends, I am now ready to answer your questions. In the depths of this forest lies my holy grail, and I have been sleeping in it for a long time. And not long ago there was a girl who claimed herself Light Elves, and her efforts to wake me up was interrupted by someone. Thus I became what I am now. And that must be Ophelia. Ophelia, the girl who awakened you. And where is she now? She has been drawn into the Holy Grail by the power of Aronius, and she is fine but cannot get out. Aronius, and I have heard his name. And some religious records say that Aronius was a degenerate from a god of the devil, and who was defeated by the Great Elves and sealed in a Holy Grail by the Fire Elf. Exactly. Aronius was very powerful, and in the end I had to use a seal. Hefel's voice sounded down, and the fire butterfly rode Hefel's face as if giving comfort. There must be something wrong with the awakening ceremony, and fully awakened from the Holy Grail was Aronius, who has been eroded by the abyss. We must go to the depths of the forest and find the Holy Grail to reseal Aronius, or many people may be affected. Where is the Holy Grail, and when can we set off right away? I think it must be in the altar of fire in the mist forest, which can only be accessed by the pure-blooded Light Elves. Hold on, isn't the altar of fire of Hefeos, and why don't we just take us there? I'm not the same as before, and I only have part of my soul. I cannot disperse the mist anymore. However, we can go to the Tree of Life first to reclaim my fire seed. Fire seed. The Tree of Life is the hometown and final destination of all nature, of all natural life. The source of the elf's power is stored in the source of spring at the root of the tree, and we call it seed. And with the seed will you be able to regain your strength and reseal Aronius. Yes, and when I regain my power, everything will return to normal, and your friends will come back safely. Hefel blinks at us with light twinkling in the golden eyes. Nikki, Teresita, I'm with you. And you will succeed, and I'll wait for you to come back to eat the camp meat together. And guided by Hefel, the thief sets out to the altar in the mist forest. And Lebova leads the shortest way through, but it used to be the residence of Aronius where his power remains. And to ensure safety, they take a detour by way of the magma mine where the dwarfs live. And behind them, the light of the mushroom has gradually fades, and in front of them is a heavy fog. And the first butterfly has also like a labyrinth with traces of carving, following the path between the glyphs. They arrive at the entrance of the mine marked in the map. Uncle Jim from the forest says that the dwarfs in the mines are his relatives and will entertain us warmly, and this road should be safe. The little dwarfs are warm and hospitable, and they like to watch me perform fire magic. And the dwarfs are set up in the ground, and our head is standing in the depths of the caves, and the air here is drier and warmer than other parts of the pigeon forest. And when they enter an open area, the sudden loud noise from above, as if a huge boulder is rushing along a zip line. Watch out, it's a trap! But it's too late, an opaque mesh bag falls on the top of the sky and catches everyone present, followed by the rain of punches. Super arrogant thieves, and how they trespass on our territory and cover our treasure, and I got to teach you a lesson. Hey, who do you call this warm and hospitable? And we are not thieves, we're friends of the Uncle Jim. And don't you try to fool me. Hard and tighten the rope. And behave yourself, this is a mesh bag made of devil willow vine leather, and the more you struggle, the tighter it becomes. The dwarves are still so vigilant and united in protecting their homes and treasure. It's not time for chit-chat, and we gotta find a way out. Nikki, don't move. And Lowen somehow draws out a uniquely shaped knife, and he finds a connection point on the sturdy mesh and slashes it open. This is the utility knife in the Explorer pack that Uncle James gave us. Yes, the dwarf's a skilled craftsman indeed. Nikki, Teresita, I'll go first, and you guys wait for the right moment to act. And finally, they break free from the mesh pack, but they end up beat up. But then a beat up is awaiting. I'll shoot him in the head. It hurts. Nikki, help me. The fire butterflies flicker over the dwarf's head and stops in the kerosene lamp at the entrance of the mine, and light is then resumed. It's best to talk about something in the open and bright place, and would everyone come down? And in short, the dwarfs hesitate to put down their weapons, and while they watch vigilantly at the few people captured by them. Isn't this Jim's ancestor saber that caught any rope? And turns out you guys are really Jim's friend. And as to me, my name is Ham, and Jim's brother and Jim's friends are also our friends. And who beats you up so badly? You did. Sorry, my guys mistook you as thieves who come to steal the holy crystal. Us, and who is this elf that knows how to unleash fire magic? Except for the ancient records, we have never seen anyone who can perform this magic. It is said that the owner of the fire butterfly is Hephaestus, the elf of fire elves, and who leads us with the eternal fire and brings light to the world. Wait a minute, you're controlling this beautiful butterfly just now, and are you? You are right, I am Hephaestus. And the dwarfs are shocked, and they look at Hephaestus, but none dares to come closer. Don't worry, I won't allow the fire to hurt you. After the misunderstanding is resolved, the dwarfs fill the wooden barrels with their homebrewed wine for frightened guests. Uncle Ham, what is the holy crystal you mentioned? There are 9 elves living under the tree of life who forge their own sacred artifact, and the crystal is the material for casting holy instruments. The thou here were once responsible for guarding the crystal and helping cast the artifact, and the Holy Grail and the New Moon Scepter were cast here. And crystal is a treasure bestowed by nature on Mirrorland, and to prevent it from abuse, the dwarves have been guarded for generations. And we are so vigilant because we spot someone who wants to steal the crystal. And speaking of this, I would like to apologize again to you guys. And who is covered in the crystal? I don't know who they are, and they are wearing black clothes and carrying strange equipment. Wherever they are in our minds, no one could find and where they're hidden, and we had to relocate the crystal. But since then, the mine has entered a state of martial law, with traps and ambushes and patrols day in day out. The men clad in red might be ranked horizontally, and are they trying to use the power to awaken Aronius? Aronius, who was eroded into a devil. It is said that you beat Aronius in one blow in the Blazing Moon War. That's not the case. Is it possible that Aronius has also woken up, and that would be a disaster, according to my great-grandmother's note? Aronius did a lot of terrible things. And he felt low his eyelid as if having lost in thought, and the face of the fire also had lost its luster for the first time. I had tastes vividly about his great-grandmother's note. Hephaestus seems to hear nothing, and the fire butterflies also stopped flying. And at the time a group of young dwarfs flocked at Hephaestus with many weird things. Master Hephaestus, look at my cloak that can disturb the magnetic field, and the gems on it are extraordinary. It's magnet, and you must have spent a lot of time on it, and this cloak is beautiful as it is practically usable. Can you take a look at my gun barrel? It doesn't hurt anyone. It can set fireworks, and I do many patterns as well. It seems that my fire spots have to be improved as the dust of year, and I feel like I have fallen behind in many things. Hephaestus is best, and thank you for giving us the eternal flame and enlightening us about the mysteries of metallurgy. And every dust gets praised by Hephaestus, and golden butterflies and the dwarfs dance joyously with a warm light enveloping them. And meanwhile, a faint sound of thunder is heard in the distance, and dark clouds quickly gather in the sky and seemingly surging straight towards the people. And what's the matter is going on with the rain again? How strange, the magma mine is guarded by the eternal flames. Storms never occur here. And Hephaestus, who is surrounded by the crowd, starts smiling, and a blue light bolt is reflected in the bright pupils. And Hephaestus stares at the sky for a long time, and it's hard to tell if Hephaestus is expecting something or simply sad. There it comes. The world outside the mine is dark as night, and the ice squeezes away the warm air, and a suffocating sense of oppression fills the narrow mind. The god of water is unusually tall, and the robe of the water surges as a storm brews the ice, making it difficult to see what they are. It's such an honor to meet the legendary Erroneous, and your new moon center is just brilliant as ever. And Erroneous glances at the dwarf while slowly walking around, and the light of the new moon scepter follows silently like a tail of a deep sea fish. The blue light falls on the rock wall of the mine, revealing a fresco that has been preserved for thousands of years. And the two figures, one red and the other blue, are regularly discernible. Between them, the flames in the furnace seems to be still burning. And Aronis remains silent as the Jordan door starts to darken heavily. And we have more to show you, Lord Aronis. For generations, there are poems about you and Lord Hefeos creating magical artifacts that bring up that name. And Aronis' voice seems to come from the abyss, and the dwarves tremble to the point that they could hardly stand still. Yeah, right. Unless you have seen. And Ham shakes his head, and Aronis stops looking at him, and the entangled black mist suddenly splits and running through the cave like hounds searching. And the scepter pierces into the black mist in the corner, and the storm pillars freeze into ice and shadows into dust. But nothing. Why? I have sensed the power of the flames here. Lord Aronis, you may have forgotten the eternal fire bestowed by he, that Lord is still burning in the furnace of the mine. Eternal fire. And Aurora murmurs repeatedly, and the dwarf secretly prays to dispel Aronis' suspicion. Eternal, huh? No one knows what the capricious god of water is singing, and the laughter echoes in the mine, and the new moon scepter sheds a dazzling cold light. And as he's trying to drive off unpleasant memory, Aronis keeps waving the scepter, and icy mist rushes into the mine, extinguishing all the flames and lights. And while taking away the lives of the other, Aronis is also concealed in the darkness, leaving quickly. It is not until the storm is completely gone that Nikki, who is hiding in the lower porthole, lays the cloak, and Momo also tries to catch out her breath. Pio, the god of water, is so powerful that I can feel the pressure this far. And sends my ingenious dwarf friends, and for this breath-concealing cloak. And I suggest that you leave as soon as possible, because the Lord Aronius looks unusually angry. Hefeos, does Aronius hate you that much because of the seal back then? Aronius is coming for you for revenge. And Hefeos shakes the head and turns to the fresco Aronius looked at just now, and in the end Hefeos signs. I don't know, we didn't get a chance to talk at the time. Go ahead, I will tell you later. As they approach the end of the underground mine, they change a light and makes them close their eyes unconsciously. The breeze gently blows across the birds' cheeks, and when they open their eyes, they find themselves in a sea of flowers. Teresita, this is surreal. And while it must be comfortable to roll around here. And colorful flowers bloom in the fields, covering the earth with gorgeous clothes, and at the place where the earth meets the sky, there's a towering old tree. It used to be habitat of the wind elves, and across the sea of flowers, and you will find the tree of life, and the elves are not easy to deal with, though. Take care. And the deeper they go, the more intense the floral fragrance becomes, and without knowing it, they are already surrounded by the wasteland in flowers. It smells so good, and how come there's a smell of pork? And Momo sounds like a drunk and stumbles forward only to catch by Lowen. Momo, don't run around yet. And the sea of flowers is much more dangerous than it looks, and we don't have time for the scenery, and better hurry up. The flowers are plotting something, and the sound of the wind interrupts her fell, and the petals curled by fierce wind form strange symbols in the air. And what does it mean? Unforgivable mistake. And what does that mean? And what mistake and whose? And Hefel remained silent for a while without answering directly. The wind elf doesn't like outsiders, especially me, and maybe the wind elf is still angry with me for burning the small flower field. And Hefel speaks with a relaxed tone as the wind becomes stronger, as if having to put off its hazy veil to reveal its strong hostility. And the petals completely part their way, covering a new message. The fire was born from the pure tree of life, and why did it become an entourage of the devil? And if it weren't for you who allowed the shadow of the abyss to pollute the source, and if it weren't for you who prevents the elves from eliminating the fallen devil, and the sacred land would not have fallen into a dark whirlpool, and even the eternal fire didn't burn your foolishness, and the Lord of the abyss blinded your consciousness, and you won't admit it even now. After the petals are dissipated, the sea of flowers becomes endless flames, and the moon appears on the scorched earth. And under the red moon, Hephaestus is facing 7 tall figures, and behind Hephaestus is someone with blue hair and sharp ears, who seems to have lost consciousness. And the new moon center, which is so formidable, is scattered on the ground. Without it, is original lost. Fena, ¿me das agüita? Hephaestus, what are you waiting for? Only by turning the fallen devil into ashes will the eternal fire with the shadow of the abyss be eliminated for good. No, that's not the case. We can't do that. You defeated Erroneous once, and why hesitate now? Hephaestus stands in front of Erroneous, who has lost conscience and is fired yet in a protective posture. I defeated Erroneous to save all the creatures on this land, and also to save Erroneous. The eternal fire does not exist to destruction, but burns for rebirth. And the dilapidated holy grail in Hephaestus' hand once again sheds light that swallows Erroneous and the flames on the earth. The blazing moon disappears from sight, and the beautiful yet dangerous sea of flowers remains. Hephaestus, what was that just now, and what does the wind elf mean? Those are just some long-lasting memories and misunderstandings that have not been resolved for years. Nikki, Teresita, will you stand behind me first? And Hephaestus presses his wing and takes a step forward to face the wind elves, and the wings of the fire butterflies become even more dazzling. I have never forgotten my mission, but I won't call Erroneous a devil from the abyss. Erroneous should be one of us. And if it weren't for Erroneous, who accepted the fields of the world day after day and endured the erosion of the abyss, the wilderness is unmoved by Hephaestus' echoes, and countless flowers and leaves set up a storm as a final warning. The sacred source of spring is guarding the first life, and the abyss of knowledge pollutes the soul of the creature. How is it possible that two who have a connection and take away your gorgeous sophistry and hypocritical kindness, and leave the sea of flowers, and promise not to approach you to your life again? The howling of the wind becomes more intense as the grass turns into sharp rotating blades that attack the outsiders who must be expelled. And the wind knocks Nikki down, and with a leaf cutting her arm open. Nikki, and this isn't good, and we should not stay in the same place. And I will try using the styling power. Now the ancestors of the wind have fallen asleep, and the one talking to us is just its spirit body, which cannot be seen, nor can it be directly heard us. However, the wind can pierce things in motion, and if we make a move, it will attack us following the trajectory of the airflow. But the tree of life is over there, and we can't stand here forever. I have an idea, and you may well walk towards the tree of life, and I will lure the screen else away. It's too dangerous, believe me. I will meet with you soon. And the wind seems to have smelled something, and the gust of wind stops temporarily, and then sweeps towards Lauren with a blade like flowers and leaves. And it doesn't take long before Lauren disappears in the endless sea of flowers. And Nikki stands up and looks at the other side of the sea of flowers, and she feels the ache on her arm. Teresita has failed, let's go. And the lash of flowers indicate that the tree of life must be close. A waterfall is surrounding the tower of the tree, whose lush canopy stretches towards the sky, and its annual growth brings bear witness to the vicissitudes. The short-haired girl stands quietly under the tree, and her skirt swaying in the wind as she has been waiting here for long. You're here. Giselle, and why are you here, and are you waiting for us? In a stormy night, I sensed that the sleeping elves in the pigeon forest were about to wake up, so I came to see if the tree of life is alright. And your name is Giselle, and have we ever met before? And seemingly having recognized the girl, the fire butterfly is flies over affectionately, and Giselle strokes his smart wings. Perhaps. And the wind runs through the treetops to make the rustling sound, and Giselle raises her head to look at the new branches of the tree of life. And Hefel also looks at as if those crisscross veins Hefel could see the ancient prosperous era. The tree of life seems to be different from when I left. How so? It's too quiet, and every leaf used to sing the ode of life, and close to the ground you can hear the melody of the countless lives blooming and declining and reborn. Over time, mankind changed the appearance of Mirrorland, and many powerful creatures die out, and the tree of life is not what it used to be. Right, and from the moment I woke up, I can feel that this is not longer the age of the elves. And Hefel strokes the texture of the tree down as if having felt vicissitudes of years, and suddenly Hefel stops moving. Some humans have entered the sacred tree of life. Who? I don't know, and I have seen humans seeking the source of the world, and they are either seeking the ultimate truth or the power over the other humans. But no worries, only the first elves can enter the deepest source spring, and the tree of life will guide you. And if you enter the source spring under the tree of life and reclaim the fire seed, you will be able to reach the altar and save Ophelia. Yes, the fire seed is my source, and it gives us everlasting life and endless power. How do we get him? Even if others enter the tree of life, they can only see the phantom of the source spring, and opening the door to the tree of life requires the elven rune. Now, I don't have enough strength, and Nikki, Teresita, I need you to come with me to convey the words of the elves to the tree of life. And clear light pours to the sacred sand and is open to visitors. Here is the source spring. It disappears in a hand between the water and the sky, and there's only the looming clouds which makes the world seem boundless. And floating are scattered sparkles, which are the fires and the original world, and they are interweaving stream of light. And amid the brilliant light, a small cluster of flames emerge, and it's neither blazing nor dazzling, it just burns quietly. And Hefel stares at the fire seed nostalgically, and the fire shines through the transparent body of Hefel, but is unable to illuminate the face. Hefel, you said the fire seed is your source, and what if we take it away now? And Hefel looks up with eyes still lingering on the distance, and Hefel feels something disappointed. I will become stronger, of course, but by then even Aronius and other elves will combine won't be able to defeat me. And Hefel speaks, and Hefel touches the fire seed, which changes shape until finally reverting to a small cluster of flames. Don't worry, I just want to borrow it for a while. As long as each cluster of flame is there, I will not disappear. And the fire butterflies lingering around to see it to be continuously burned and reborn, and countless golden particles turn into dazzling light. And in the light, Hefel's vague outline bursts into a complete form, and when Hefel opens his eyes, the light also disperses. And the light scattered on the water surface burns into a swaying image. And what is it? It's an illusion from the resonance between the original elves and the source spring, and a projection of the former source spring. And the source spring is a place of eternal tranquility where the elves roam comfortably. Aronius is not here. Aronius couldn't enter the source spring. But why isn't Aronius one of the first 9 elves in the very beginning? Well, Aronius is the strongest and the best among us, but the power of Aronius is naturally connected to the abyss. If Aronius were allowed to enter here, the source spring, the power of the abyss would erode the source of this land. And no one knew how ardent Aronius wanted to protect this. And for the first time, a hint of sadness appears in Hefel's translucent eye, and the temporary illusion disappears. Outside the tree of life, birds are chirping in the forest as if having to recall something sweet. Hefel's eyes are rekindled by the smile. Aronius likes to sit on the tree branch before watching over the elves enter the tree of life. And the leaves there are so dense that Aronius thought that others could not notice. But I did, and I asked the fire butterflies to fly up the tree to say hi, and Aronius shook the head as if afraid of my ashes being spotted. And when Hefel rotates fingers, fire butterflies up the tree, and the mist there starts to dissipate. And the sunlight shines through the gaps between the branches and leaves, but on one silence, the gentle figure is no longer there. Aronius didn't allow me to see close, saying that the water would put out the fire butterfly, and actually Aronius feared that I may be bullied by the other elves. And the beauty of the source spring is eternal and sacred, but I prefer to sit on the tree with Aronius where I can overlook the whole pigeon forest. And the sun rises and the moon sets as the four seasons go around, and this is the constant changing world that we many are championing. As the field raises his hand, countless of butterflies fly to the forest, breaking the laws, breaking the fog like sunshine, and the ancient forest is restored to how it was. And Hefel leans against the tree of life, looking at the sunlight coming from outside the forest. Aronius is my friend, and I will not let Aronius fall into the abyss unless the darkness swallows us together. Aronius stands in front of the huge torso of the tree of life, and cold fingers run across the branches and leaves which are instantly withered. It used to be a powerful mother tree and a released flower over a sacred command, but today she seems old and weak. Aronius was not allowed to enter the soul spring, and all Aronius could possess was a small shade of the tree, just enough to cover the filthy body. And Aronius looks at the familiar treetop, and Aronius hasn't been there for a long, nor are there annoying fire butterflies. But there is indeed a fire butterfly flying to the treetops to land on the cold fingertip of Aronius. Fire butterfly. And the temperature of the winds makes Aronius lose consciousness for a while, and Aronius holds the butterfly tenderly, turning it into ashes. And the fact that the fire butterflies are here indicates that Hephaestus is under the tree of fire of life, and Hephaestus has returned to the source spring. And the pure fire will once again perform the duty of justice to counter the devils, but this time Aronius decides not to be credulous nor hesitate. And the waves of the abyss keep surging in the body of Aronius, but Aronius doesn't mind the filth because Aronius will use this power to conquer the world. The old forest is rejuvenated due to Hephaestus' power, but the light of the flaming Hephaestus' body seems to be drawn out little by little, leaving only gray embers. Hephaestus, how are you? It seems that I have been sleeping for too long, and even casting an easy spell is beyond me. And are you sure this is just an easy spell? And before Hephaestus answers, the fire butterflies are dispersed in the fog and seem to have encountered something that obstructs them. There seems to be something in the waterfall. The waterfall next to the tree of life has undercurrents surging under the water flow and transforms into a giant figure. Behind the waterfall, a pair of muddy eyes stares at Hephaestus, and the moon on the sector is emitting a dangerous blue light. Could this be? And the cloud blue mist grasps everyone's throat, and the tree of life sighs heavily, and the grass withers in an instant, and all of the creatures stop singing. And Aronius, who has once bestowed water for life, now approaches like a devil from the abyss. But Hephaestus doesn't seem to feel the terrible majesty of Aronius, and Hephaestus walks towards directly to meet Aronius' gaze. Aronius, long time no see. And Aronius doesn't answer, and the eyes of Aronius are colder than the winter of doomsday. Aronius, you once said that you will never succumb to the abyss. And surrounded by the heavy black fog, Hephaestus looks like a candle that is about to burn out. I know you, and you'd rather be destroyed than using the power of the abyss. And the unspoken words are interrupted by the mist, and Hephaestus looks into Aronius' eyes where there is boundless darkness without even a ripple. The thick black mist envelops the scepter like a snake and goes into the robe and stained with filthy waves, and Aronius can no longer hear anything. Bring it on then. And Hephaestus lets out a soft sign, standing in front of the others. Nikki, Teresita, you leave here now. But it's too late, and the furious waves surge, and the high-hanging blue moon slashes like a devil's sickle towards Hephaestus. No way! All boundless sea is left inside, and it's hard to tell if the moon is hanging in the night sky or floating in the depth sea, and consciousness fades quickly like the flow of water. But why are the birds chirping, and why do the leaves gently stroke the face, and why do the golden butterflies still flap their wings? Nikki, Teresita, don't be inundated by the tide. A familiar voice is heard just like the spring breeze breaking through the ice, and the same figure is facing Aronis as she saw. And countless lights hanging down from the tree of life gently carry the catch the theme like a pair of big hands. Giselle stands on top of the vines, and she quietly watches Aronius, who has turned into a devil, seemingly calm that Aronius will not hurt her. And the shadow of the tree also envelops Aronius, and the soft petals stroke the waterfall hair. And the black mist surrounding Aronius seems to be blown away by the warm forest wind, and it slowly dissipates to reveal a pair of unshaded eyes. But the darkness does not halt this attack, and there is a fight between chaos and clarity in the eyes of Aronius, like the surging sea. He fails, and Aronius calls the name of the fire elves for the first time, as if just recognized for a long-lost friend, with a pale blue light flashing in eyes. But soon that light is swallowed by the raging black tide, and the mist once again envelops Aronius' body. And at the time a powerful force approaches, and amid the falling flowers she hears a whisper, "Cut the vines and go downstream." And seeming to have heard some kind of instruction, the tree vines lead everyone to the depths of the waterfall. The turbulent current submerges everything, and only the golden butterflies escape from the black mist and fall into the water. I'm still alive. Nikki, Teresita, wake up. Mama, I'm fine. And where's Teresita? I'm fine. Don't worry, I'm fine. And where are we? It seems like a small cave here, but the top of it surrounds are not rocks but are surging fluid, and there seems to be a vague light refracted from above. Is this water? This is the Lake Bovary. The waterfall below the Tree of Life connects all water systems of the Pigeon Kingdom. And it's not until a faint voice comes that Nikki notices the fire butterflies surrounding, and the golden light of the butterflies is too weak to be seen. And classes of one light isolate the lake water, working hard to open a surface space. Don't worry, although it's under the ice lake, it's not cold here. And Hefel lies in the corner and doesn't close eyes out of tiredness until seeing Nikki and others are waking up. Hefels. And Hefel's figure is fading away and breaking into pieces of butterflies who flap their wings, fleeting into the melting water and flow on the waterfalls. Hefel has lost too much power and will be a stake if he continues. This environment suppresses the power of Hefel, who has spent a lot of energy to dissipate the mist now, and we gotta get out of here. And watch this, Nikki, what is it? And Mama, who is looking for an answer, reaches to Nikki in a panic, and a thick black mist suddenly surges out of the water stream and quickly surrounding them. There seems to be countless suns struggling in the mist, and the shadows are pointed ears and fins just like the water elves. Shameless traitor. And with twisted dry faces, the shadows drive frantically to attack everyone, and the crazy hatred in the eyes is more chilling than the surging mist. What are these? These are rats turning from the water elves that are wiped out in the blazing moon war. And Nikki tries her best to contend with the rise with the starting power, and a warm flame rises from behind to dispel the darkness a bit. And Hazel manages to stand up, looking at the rise with a mixed feelings. Curse the fire elves and curse all the light. And the rise scream as they approach again, and the pain, resentment engulfing the black mist runs straight at Hefel. Can anyone hear me and come and help us? And as if responding to Momo's call, a beautiful lyre melody penetrates the water flow on the wall, and the rise cover their ears in pain and disappear. The ice on Lake Bovary has cracked in which the sun can shine. Now you are awake. And when Nikki awakes, she is lying on the shore of Lake Bovary, and Modric is leaning against a tree beside her and playing the lyre. Mother, was it you who said that just now, and have you just come back from the Pigeon Capital? How is it going in Pigeon Capital now? The power brought by Aronius far exceeds Queen Borhilda's band, and the water elves of the distant sea have returned to the mainland. And Pagan capital is under attack of the tides, and in a few days, when the new moon appears, water elves will become even stronger. If I don't get it wrong, they are also waiting for the return of Aronius before launching a final offensive. And we are running out of time, and we gotta find the Holy Grail as soon as possible. And Hefeo has awakened, although the figure is still a little fuzzy, and leaving Late Bobody obviously helps Hefeo restore power. The Water Elves used to be a noble race, but now they are blinded by hatred, and I have something to do with it though. And Mother looks at the weak Hefeos without saying a word. And little butterflies flutter, and their wings flap against the ethereal sound of lyre as if writing an ancient poem in the void. Thank you, Mr. Musician. And the sound of the lyre continues as it's telling the story of the past. And I know what you're thinking, but the war was unlike what you thought it would be. And my awakening is not for defeating Aronius. In fact, the god of water has never yielded to the abyss, and I never went to war against Aronius. And I felt gently stroked some of the broken walls scattered around the lake, and on one of them incomprehensible characters could still be seen. This place used to be the altar of Aronius, and the flower fairies sang here day and night, praising the benevolent and upright kind god of water. It happened too long ago, and many fasts have fallen into oblivion. However, even at that time, not everyone knew what actually happened. What is the truth about Aronius? And Hefel stretches out a hand, and the butterflies are intertwined into a talisman into the void, and the broken inspiration also changes its form. From the day Aronius was born, power and shadow have always followed Aronius. And when the new moon rises, the power of the abyss is strongest, and the dark tide eroded Aronius and also coveted this continent. And Aronius decided to enter the Soulspring to cut off the root of the tree of life, which was eroded by the abyss and at the expense of its soul. But Aronius failed, and eroded by the abyss, Aronius no longer trusted anyone. Later, the elves hoped to eliminate Aronius for good, but I didn't agree. And Aronius was not a child of the abyss. Like us, Aronius always wanted to protect this land. Hefeos despite the butterflies, and the shattered altar is restored to its original state under the golden red talisman. And praise to Aronius, the god of water, comes from the sea and controls water and offers rain and dew, and all of the creatures benefit from the blessing of the god of water. Staring at the inscription on the altar, Hefeos recalls the hustle and bustle of the past. Hefeos, and let's go get into the mist forest. And as if those gloomy memories are gone, and the fire elf reaches out to his companion, inviting them to embark on a final journey. Cold wind sweeps across the shores of Lake Bovary, and the frozen lake suddenly cracks, shaking. The ice blocks collide with each other, making noise. And at the center, raging waves soar into the sky, and Aronius shows. And when Aronius wields the scepter, the plants are covered with frost in an instant. And the dark and chaotic gaze of Aronius falls over the lake shore, who then frowns in anger. I'm late. And Aronius raises the scepter high and preparing to turn into water and leave. And at the moment, a faint blue light catches Aronius' attention. And on the shore of the lake, an altar is not covered by frost, but instead responding to the power of the scepter. My altar. And the water flows surrounds the altar, and Aronius stretches over the fingers to stroke the ancient inscription. Offers rain and dew. All creatures benefit from the blessing of the god of water. And the characters emit a warm golden light reflected on the dark eyes of Aronius, and suddenly long forgotten memories come to mind. Aronius, my friend, the erosions of the abyss seem to have weakened these days. Maybe the power of the forest has temporarily surpassed the darkness, and even fate has occasionally sleepy days. Spring water flows happily in the forest, and birds indulgent under the sky, and winds occasionally to all seated on the branches. It fails. The temptation of the abyss is flowing in my body, and I'm using my mind to fight my blood. And how stupid does it sound? But will you continue to be this stupid? Yes, even if destruction is awaiting, I am not going to yield to fate. And the fire butterfly notches his face miserably, and when Aronius turns around, and Aronius sees a pair of smiling eyes that never has hastening. Don't be so dramatic, you know that I would always be on your side. Forever, forever. The raging fire surges on the sea and pours from the sky, and scorched trees fall to the ground, and elves gather in the dry riverbed, shouting up to the sky. And the fire standing in front of the team spreads its wing, and the Holy Grail is scorching as the sun, but the familiar face is more infuriating the abyss. Hephaestus, do you want to meet my enemy as well? Arenas feels that Hephaestus will get close again, but Hephaestus just says something that cannot be heard, and Hephaestus raises the Holy Grail. The flames and the expansion goes out as the ancient eyes are once again swallowed by the darkness, and the searching waves scream, and when they settle down, eyes press again over Lake Bovaling. The mist forest, and Hephaestus spreads out a golden wing, and the scorching radiance turns into countless fire butterflies to expel the mist and envelops the forest. This mist dissipates, and Hephaestus turns around, surrounded by the flames, and Hephaestus looks so bright like a sun that never sets. The second land is only accessible by us, but this time I may need Nikki and Teresito to come with me. Nikki, you got to be careful. You to return. Fires leads the way into the city. Ancient altar scatters sunlight, and a statue that is the Holy Grail of blazing flame. That we're finally here. Oh no, Aronis is still after us. Huh? And I will hold Aronis down, and Nikki, Teresita, you are warriors recognized by this forest, and I know that you can use the power of the Holy Grail. And before Nikki revives, her veil has disappeared, and the fire butterflies staying in the air turn into golden wind, pushing Nikki forward. The torrential rain eases off, and the sun pokes its head from behind the clouds, casting its ray on Aronis, who has restored the original appearance. And Aronis' eyes become clear as the sea finally comes down under the sun, and the long hair resembles waves in the sea, twinkling in the sunlight. Aronius. And Phil tries to greet Aronius, but falls as if running out of strength, and Aronius holds Phil up gently. It's been a long time. And at the end, Aronius returns to what it used to be, and the god who guarded the earth together with Hephaestus. You did it, Aronius. You broke free from the abyss. And the fire butterflies flock to Aronius, and the dance of the water draws echo in the intimate behavior of the butterfly, as if saying, it's been a long time. As I said, I will prove to Aronius as our pal, and even if we need to wait 1,000 years to get the answer, I see the light of the Holy Grail in the chaotic darkness, which is illuminated the way home for me. Now I am back, my pal, and it's a pity that I can only accompany you for a short while. The pure white land of the west is beckoning me to leave. The fair cracks a faint smile and gently holds Aronius' hand. Doesn't it matter? As always, I will be here. I will be there with you. And the radiant fire slowly turns into ashes as the fingertips of her fail, and the fire butterflies dancing with the water drops wither like fallen leaves. And Aronius looks at the dissipating fire butterflies incredulous and tries to catch them, but they turn into ashes. Why? The only one who should leave is me. As long as the fire seed in the source wind does not dissipate, you will not die. Do you use the last bit of power in the fire seed? And for the 9 elves, the seed in the source of spring is the ultimate source, and once the seed dissipates, there will be no more god of fire on this land. And Hephaestus cracks a smile as if it's just a trivial matter. You know, I have never been good at fighting, and how can we take you back from the abyss without the fire seed? Don't be sad, let's go together. And Hephaestus looks at Aronius, and Hephaestus' voice becomes softer and lighter like a murmur, as if falling asleep in the forest wind. You see, I said I would always stand on your side, and I've done what I said. And Aronius nods and closes his eyes beside Hephaestus, and the wind blows from the tree of life, and gently holding the waterways and fire and sending them into an endless stream. The gods of water and fire dissipate in the sun and transform into shining dust that blends the land on the pigeon forest. And it's not until the sun shines on Nikki's face that she understands what it means to use the power of the fire seed. The god of fire uses eternal life to awaken his best friend and save this beloved land. And rain nourishes all creatures, and the fire seed sustains hope. And Nikki's sight is blurred by tears, and there will not be no more fires, but the fire of hope still, and will continue to bring till the end of time. And there seems to be something warm in her palm, and Nikki opens her hand, and just to see a fire butterfly fluttering out, and Hefeel's voice is to be ringing in her ear. Hefeels? Thank you, Nikki, and you may now go and call your friends back. And this is the last word left by the fire, God of fire, to Nikki. And like Hefeos, Nikki believes that persistence and perseverance will bring hope. Although she once embraced darkness, her heart remains gentle and firm. There is still hope, and the light left by the fire seed will shine on this land forever. And the fire butterflies dance for a while in the wind before landing in the altar, and a cluster of flame dust emerges from the Holy Grail. And from the flame of a familiar figure gradually appears, and her light wings seemingly shining with the dawn as she falls slowly from the air. Ophelia. And with a mixed feeling, Nikki bursts into tears, and her reaches steps forward to catch the elf queen with her arms. The sun in the forest shines on Ophelia's face, and after all the adversity, she leans in the arms of a friend as if having a cloudy dream. As if awakened by the sun, she slowly opens her clear eyes in Nikki's knees. Your Majesty, you're finally back. Ophelia, you're right. And when she sees a person in front of her clearly, Ophelia gives a warm smile and reaches out to touch Momo's head. Nikki, Teresita, you saved me again, and I don't know how to thank you. You coming back is the best thing I have ever hoped for. And as if suddenly recalling something, Ophelia's eyes flash with unprecedented radiance. I found the flame in the Holy Grail. And she spreads out her hands, and where flames that never extinguish appear, and the flame is so blazing that it couldn't hurt Ophelia one bit. The glory comes from the fire seat, and I can finally bring back the glory for the Pigeon Kingdom. And as so many other things as well, and the 9 elves under the Tree of Life, the Water Elves struggling against the abyss, and the Blaze Moon War. And water and fire perish together in the Holy Grail, and flowers start to grow on the dry land, and a half bloom and half golden like the embrace of Titan flame. And I remember someone told me it's flower of ebony, the legendary flower of the elves. And a nostalgic smile creeps in the corner of Ophelia's mouth. The pigeon forest which suffered a disaster is welcoming its rebirth, and the frost stunts, and the tide recedes, and the sun shines over the treetops. And green leaves rustle on the top, playing wonderful song, and countless creatures poke heads out of the earth, greedily enjoying the sunshine. And the forest is rapidly recovering, and no matter what damage they experience, these tenacious creatures will always find hope again. And when Ophelia holds high the flame and rushes into the gate of Pigeon Capital, the sun suddenly shines brightly over the city. And exhausted light elf soldiers are inspired by the light and take out their weapons, and the water elves are burned by the light, and tides evaporate, and their power disappears. And Brunhilde's ban comes into effect once again, and the water elves are soon surrounded by the Imperial army. And we have a winner. Alright, so we're done with this. I hope you have fun with me reading you this side story from the chapter that we read. Next time I'll continue with the main plot forward. So please give a like and subscribe. Bye bye and God bless.